Okay, so before we begin the process of modeling this realistic version of the human figure using the formula-based system, I'm going to first give you a general overview of Blender. So these are going to be really important lessons in the beginning, is because you really need to understand how Blender works if you want to be successful with this video series. So the first thing that I'm going to point out is that you can always look over here to see what version of Blender someone is using. So here it says 2.78 over here. Now, if I go under the help menu and bring up the splash screen, you can see that the version that we're going to be using in this video series is going to be 2.788. Now, I strongly recommend you use the same version that I am if you want to get the same exact results, right? If you want to keep your life simple, use the same version over here. Now, you're free to use a later version of Blender, but just note that you would have to go out of your own way to figure out how certain things are done if you're not able to get them to work in the version that you're using. Okay, so this is really important to use the same version over here. Now, just as a side note, when Blender 2.8 comes out, significant changes are going to start to happen in Blender. Basically, they're going to change how the user interface works and how things over here are going to be reorganized. And especially this area over here, you can see these little buttons. These are your layers. These will no longer be here. They will be turned into collections and they will appear over here. So this is why I recommend you use the same version over here so you can understand how Blender works. Now, you should know that Blender has been in development for many years. So this version of Blender that we are using is a very sophisticated 3D modeling package. So it's not like you're going to be missing out on anything if you use this version of Blender, regardless of the fact that later versions have been released. So now in 2.8, what you're really going to be getting is a lot of eye candy in the 3D view, right? And they're going to be really changing certain things as to how do you do texture painting or visualizing your 3D model in the 3D viewport. And you're going to see a lot of changes in here. You can see that we only have 3 options right now: Blender Render, Blender Game Cycles Render, but then you're going to get a few more options over here. So just use this version of Blender, okay? So now let's talk about how do you get this version of Blender. So what you want to do is first go to Blender's website. So this is my website over here, alienthink.com. You can keep up to date on what I'm working on. So if we go over here, blender.org, when you come to their website, what you're going to do is simply click on this download button over here. Now you can see that they always give you a button over here showing you the official latest release that they've done. You can see that this is 2.78c. Now it really depends on when you're coming to this video series. So disregard all of this. All you want to do is click on this download button over here. So now you can see that we get the same thing. Here they're giving you options to download the latest version of Blender. So I'm going to be on a Windows 10 machine, so I'm going to be using the 64-bit version. So you can see that you can click on these links over here to download the installer, or you can download the zip file. Here's for the Mac and here's for the Linux, okay? But this is not what we want. We want a previous version of Blender. So we're going to click on this link over here, okay? So you're going to be brought to this page. What you want to do is click on this link. It says download.blender.org/release. So I'm going to go ahead and click it. It's going to open up a new window. Now here in Firefox, you can see that I've disabled this plugin over here. If I had this enabled, this wouldn't open up. This basically blocks my pop-up. So make sure that you're aware of this. Okay, so over here you can see that we can see all the Blender versions that have ever been released. So what you want to do is simply scroll down until you find Blender 2.78. So you're going to click on this link. This is basically a folder online, and this is going to bring you to this page over here. So you can see that the version that I'm interested in is the Blender 2.78a Windows 64.zip file. You're simply going to click on this file and make sure that you save this file. You should know where this is saving, right? So on the Windows machine, by default, it goes into the downloads folder. I'm going to cancel this because I've already downloaded this. Now let me just point this out. And remember, on a 64-bit machine, you can run the 32-bit version too. But obviously, if you're on a 64-bit machine, you want to run the 64-bit version is because it will work much better. And here are the .msi files. These are the installers. Now, I personally don't use the installers. I just use the zip file because it allows me to keep different versions of Blender on my hard drive. Okay, and over here you can see that this is the Mac version. Now notice it says 2.78a, and over here it starts to change to B and then C. So you're interested in the A version. So now when you download it, here on the Windows machine, it goes straight to the downloads folder over here. See this? So you're going to obviously right click and unzip it. Now I'm going to assume you know how to unzip a file. You can look it up online as to how to do that. So it depends on how you unzip it. Here it's just going to give me the same folder as was the zip file. So if I go in here, click, go in here, you can see that these are all the Blender files. And this is why I like the zip file, because all you have to do is just click on the exe. And you can see that over here, I can keep different versions of Blender, right? It'll be just different folders, or depending on whatever I download. So if I go in here and just double click the exe file, it's just going to open up this DOS window and then launch Blender. You can see that it's launched it. So I'm going to go ahead and just close this because I already have Blender running. So let me go ahead and switch back over here. Okay. So when you launch a Blender, this is now how it's going to look. So what we're going to do is go under File. Now watch what I do over here. I'm going to go under File and do Load Factory Settings. Okay. So this option is something that you'll probably use quite a bit in the beginning. Is what it does is basically makes sure that it resets everything if you had just downloaded Blender for the first time, right? So now we're on the same page. So if you launch Blender, this is exactly what you're going to see. Now, when you launch Blender for the first time, it looks really overwhelming, right? And the reason this is happening is because Blender uses a different software design methodology. What I mean by this is, here I'm just going to bring up the simple application notepad. Okay, so you can see that we get this window over here. If I hover my mouse, I can resize the window for this notepad from the top and the left, here on the right. I can do it on the bottom. Okay, and you'll also notice that your typical application has a menu bar on top, right? You can click on these menu items, and in order to be able to get to features in this application, I would have to go under Format, let's say under Font. I'm going to get this Modal dialog box, and here I can select all these different features and then click OK. Okay. Now notice that when I click over here, I can't do anything until I exit this. Either I have to click on this and cancel. So that's what a Modal type dialog box is. Okay. Now the difference in Blender is that what they do in Blender is that they give you everything up front to you, meaning that they don't hide anything from you. They give you all the features Blender has to offer right up front. So this is why you're seeing all these buttons over here, right? These hundreds and hundreds of options all over the place. So what this means is that in order to understand Blender, you really have to approach it in a cognitive way, meaning that you have to make these cognitive links in your mind as to how to accomplish certain tasks. Okay, so that's the first important concept that you need to understand about Blender. Now, when you open up Blender, you can see that we have this box in the middle, and they have this weird looking thing over here, and then we have another thing over here. So this is basically a lamp, this is your camera, and this is your 3D model right in the middle. So what you're looking at here is the 3D view, and this is known as a window type. Okay, now what I want you to do is, if you look here, you see that there's a little triangle over here on the top right, and if you just move your mouse over here and then take it to the left, you'll see that he has his buddy here on the bottom left. So whenever you see these two triangles, this tells you that this is a window type. So to help you understand this a little better, let's say if this is Notepad, right here, I'm just going to resize this for you really quickly. So here I'm just going to take this Notepad over here, resize it like this, take this over here, and I'm going to resize this like this over here. Come on, over here. So this is what Blender is doing. What it's doing is that it's showing you that this where this 3D view is, it is actually a window, just like this, like an application. It's a window type, okay? So this is what this is. So now if you look over here, you can see that this is another window type. And we know this is because if you look on the top right, you can see that you get this little triangle over here. And if you follow your mouse here on the bottom left, you see another triangle over here. So that's its buddy. So this tells us that this is another window type. So if I bring up Notepad over here and resize this over here to be a little smaller and just take it up over here, you can see that this is what they're doing. Okay, they're placing another window over here just like this. Okay, so what this means is that this over here is the same thing. This is another window type. Over here you can see that on the top right I have a little triangle over here, transparent triangle. And if I move my mouse over here, you can see that I have another triangle over here on the bottom left. So if I look over here, I can see another triangle over here. So this is another window type over here because I can see this triangle over here. These two triangles signal to you that this is another window type. And if you look on top, this looks like a menu bar, just like a notepad, right? But if you look closely, you can see that there's another triangle over here, and then over here there's another triangle over here. So this tells you that what they're doing is they're simply gluing all these window types together, right? So if you hover your mouse over here, you can see that we can now resize these windows. See? Over here, I can resize this in Notepad. So that's what this is. We can resize this. And over here, if I hover my mouse right over here, I can resize it over here. And because this is a window type over here, I can even move my mouse and resize this, right? So this is a misleading over here because it looks like a menu bar, but actually it's a window type. So I'm going to talk about this in more detail over here. I'm going to push this up over here, push this to the right. And if I go down over here, right over here, you can see that I can resize this. So all of these are window types that are glued together. Now let's talk about, well, where's the menu bar for this window? We can see that the triangle here is on the top right, and then there's a triangle over here on the bottom left. So you can see that the menu bar over here is on the bottom, and this is the header. So if I right click this, you can see that it says header. I can flip it to the top. Now it looks just like that Notepad window. I get these options over here, right? So in these window types, you can either stick the header on the top or stick it to the bottom. You can see it just behaving the same way like a normal application does. I'm just going to flip it to the bottom. Now in Blender, it's highly recommended that you use a 3-button mouse, okay? Because it's very difficult to use Blender without the 3-button mouse, and I'm going to show you why that is now. So you can see that this is the header over here, right? And if you go over here, we can look for the header. We know we can find the header either by looking over here where the triangle is on the top, and you can see that we have these menu options. Now because I have a 3-button mouse, you can see that there seems to be some features hidden on the right side. So to get to them, either I can click on this and expand this. See, there was a search over here. Or if it's like this, if I have a 3-button mouse, I can simply do the scroll wheel and scroll on the header. Or I can just click on the middle mouse button and scroll it. So now if you look over here, let's look for the header. If we go over here, we can see the headers over here, because if we look on the bottom, there's no header over here. So I can do the scroll wheel to get to these options. If I can do the middle mouse button over here. Right, so over here I can just right click this and flip it to the bottom. Now it's over here. Now I'm going to click on this and flip it to the top. So over here I can do the same thing. I have to go over here in a clean area over here, right click and flip it to the bottom. Now it's over here. Right, so you can find the header by always just looking at these little triangles. Where exactly is it? Right, once you've identified that this is the window type. Over here is the same thing. I can click over here and do flip it to the top, or clicking over here and flip it to the bottom. Now over here you can see that as I said, that if you click over here and scroll this down, you can see that I can click on this and flip it to the top. Okay, now this is a window. So if I shut this off and do flip it to the bottom, you're not really going to see a change because we've really shrunken this, right? So this is a window type over here. Okay, so now that I've shown you this, what I want you to know is that over here, see where this header is? If I move my mouse over here, you can see that I'm really just resizing this window over here, right? Because they're glued together. But if I move my mouse over here where the header is, if I move it up, it's not going to do anything. But if I left click on this and move it down, see, I can collapse this header. Now in order to bring it back, all you have to do is look for this little plus sign, bring it up. You can do the same thing over here. See, I can collapse this over here. Now it's hard to see this, but if you click it, it'll come back up. We can do the same thing over here. Collapse this over here, and we can get this little plus sign, and click over here, collapse this, and click this plus sign. Now, you see this little white box over here? This doesn't belong to Blender. This is so you can see when I click the mouse button or when I click on the keys. This is just for you here. This is because Blender is really heavy on keyboard shortcuts. So you're going to always see this white box over here. So it's not part of Blender. Okay, so now you know what you can do with these headers. Now, what I want you to know is that, let's say if I click on this and flip this to the top, see, I can actually collapse this like this and this like this, right? So now we don't know where the header is. So all we have to do is look at these plus signs. Click on this one to bring them back, okay? So now you understand how this works, right? You can resize this over here, resize this over here, and then resize this here in the middle, right? If you click this, it'll just go like this. So let's just put this back to the bottom. Now, it's highly recommended when you're working with Blender is not to mess around with these, right? Don't flip them to the top. Just keep them exactly the way they are, because it makes learning Blender much faster. Now that you understand this, what I want to show you is that you can actually add more window types, okay? So all you have to do is click on this little triangle. If you click on it with the left mouse button, if I click it, drag it to the left, you can see I can open a window type over here. So it basically duplicated this window over here. Now the reason it did that is because look where we click. We click on the triangle that belonged to this window type. So it basically duplicated this window over here. So now if you click this, you can go down, right? You can go left, you can go down, and you can do this all day, meaning that you can even come in here and add even more window type. It's just going to keep duplicating. Now, in order to be able to shut all this off, what you have to do is do it in a logical manner. So let's try to figure this out. So if we click over here, you can see that if I click my left mouse button and move it to the left or right, it doesn't do anything. I have to actually think about this in a logical way. So first we have to do is collapse these, right? So let's click on this. If I left click this, you can see that I get this little, it becomes gray right now. It's actually showing a little arrow. I'm going to let this go. It's going to collapse, okay? Then what we have to do is actually, we can't actually go this way, right? Because there are two of them. So first we have to get rid of one of these. So I'm just going to resize this to show you. Now look, when I click on this and do up, you see that little gray, the gray arrow that's showing? It becomes gray, so you can go up or down. So I'm going to go up. That collapses it. Now we can collapse this one. If we click on this, we can collapse this. Then we can go up over here. You can go up or down this, and let's collapse this one. You can go to the right or left, okay? Now notice that if I bring this up over here, if I click my mouse and go to the left, it's just going to duplicate this, okay? In order to collapse it, you have to click it and take it to the right. Over here, you have to take it to the right and then left, okay? Now it's going to be collapsed over here. So you can do the same thing on any of these. I can bring this up over here and I can just collapse it. So this is how you can add more window types. If you don't want this over here, you can click on this, take it to the bottom, and it'll collapse it, okay? And now anytime you feel that you're lost on this, just go into File, do Load Factory Settings, and it will just simply reload Blender over here. Okay, so I'll see you in the next lesson, where we're going to now continue on this general understanding of Blender. Thank you.